Stop scrolling. If you feel distant from God, if your prayers feel empty, if worship feels like nothing but words, this message is for you. Stay with me, because what you're feeling right now does not mean God has left you. In fact, it might be the very moment He is working the deepest in your life. And before we begin, I want you to do one thing. Don't click away. What you're about to hear could change how you see your faith forever. There's a quiet fear many people carry but rarely admit. It sounds like this: why don't I feel God anymore? You remember when it was different. You used to feel His presence. Prayer felt alive. Worship felt powerful. You sensed peace, direction, even joy. But now, it feels dry, silent, empty, and the most dangerous thought starts creeping in. Did God leave me? Let's settle this right now with truth. God did not leave you. The Bible is clear in Hebrews 13:5. Never will I leave you. Never will I forsake you. That's not based on your feelings. That's based on His promise. So if God didn't leave, why does it feel like He did? 1. You're confusing feelings with God's presence. One of the biggest mistakes believers make is equating God's presence with emotions. When you feel peace, you think God is near. When you feel nothing, you think He's gone. But God's presence is not emotional. It's constant. Look at Psalm 139, 7-10. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. Even in your lowest moment, even in your numbness, even in your silence, He is still there. Feelings come and go. God does not. If your faith depends on how you feel, your faith will always feel unstable. God is calling you deeper than emotions. He's calling you into trust. 2. God may be teaching you to walk by faith, not feelings. There's a shift that happens in every believer's life. At first, God often allows you to feel His presence strongly. It builds your faith. It draws you closer. But then, things change. The feelings fade. Not because God left, but because He's maturing you. Look at 2 Corinthians 5:7. For we walk by faith, not by sight. Or in this case, not by feeling. Faith is not proven when you feel God. Faith is proven when you don't feel Him, and you still trust Him anyway. That silence you feel, it might not be distance. It might be growth. God is asking, will you still follow me, even when you don't feel me? 3. Hidden sin can dull your sensitivity to God. Now let's be real. Sometimes the issue isn't that God is silent, it's that something in our life is blocking our sensitivity to Him. Sin doesn't remove God's presence, but it can disrupt your awareness of it. Isaiah 59:2 says, your iniquities have separated you from your God. Your sins have hidden His face from you. That doesn't mean God abandoned you. It means something is standing in the way. And often these are not obvious sins. They're silent habits, distractions, compromise, things you've slowly allowed into your life. Ask yourself honestly, is there something I'm holding on to that I know is wrong? Have I been ignoring conviction? Have I become spiritually numb through repetition? God isn't trying to punish you. He's trying to restore clarity. And the moment you turn back to Him, fully, sincerely, you'll begin to feel that connection again. 4. You might be spiritually exhausted. Another reason you may not feel God is simple. You're tired. Not physically, spiritually. You've been fighting battles. You've been dealing with stress, pressure, maybe even disappointment with God. And your soul is worn out. Even great men in the Bible felt this way. Look at 1 Kings 19, where Elijah, after witnessing miracles, becomes exhausted, afraid, and disconnected. He literally asks God to take his life. And what does God do? He doesn't rebuke him. He lets him rest. Sometimes what you think is spiritual distance is actually spiritual burnout. God isn't far. You're just drained. And instead of pushing harder, God may be saying, "Come back to me and rest." 5. God is testing your love. This is deeper than most people realize. When you first experience God, it's powerful, emotional, beautiful. But at some point, God allows a season where those feelings fade. Why? Because He's asking a deeper question. Do you love me? Or do you love how I make you feel? Anyone can follow God when it feels good. But real love stays, even in silence. Look at James 1:3. The testing of your faith produces perseverance. Your current season might not be punishment. It might be a test of love. And if you stay, if you keep praying, if you keep seeking, even when it feels empty, that's when your faith becomes real. 6. You've stopped seeking God intentionally. Let's be honest again. Sometimes we say, "I don't feel God," but the truth is, we've slowly stopped seeking Him. Not completely, but consistently. Prayer becomes shorter. The Bible becomes occasional. Distractions become constant. And then we wonder why we feel distant. Jeremiah 29:13 says, "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart," not half your heart, not distracted attention, all your heart. God hasn't moved, but maybe your focus has. And the good news? You can return. Right now. If this is speaking to you, don't ignore it. In part 2, I'm going to show you exactly how to reconnect with God, even if you feel completely numb right now. Simple, powerful steps that can bring your spiritual life back to life. But before you go, take 10 seconds, pause, and just whisper, "God, I'm still here." Because even if you don't feel Him, He is closer than you think. Before you skip, before you doubt, before you tell yourself, "This won't work for me," stop. If you feel spiritually numb right now, what you're about to hear could be the exact turning point you've been waiting for. Because in this part, I'm not just going to explain why you don't feel God. I'm going to show you how to reconnect with Him, even if you feel absolutely nothing. And here's the key. You don't need to wait until you feel something to come back to God. You just need to take the first step. 1. Start showing up, even when it feels empty. This is where most people fail. They wait to feel motivated before they pray. They wait to feel connected before they open the Bible. But the truth is, connection doesn't come first. Consistency does. You need to show up, even when it feels dry, even when it feels pointless, even when your mind is distracted. Why? Because God honors pursuit. Look at Jeremiah 29:13 again. "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart," not when you feel something, when you seek. So start small. 5 minutes of prayer, 1 chapter of Scripture, 1 honest conversation with God. It may feel empty at first, but something is happening beneath the surface. Always. 2. Be honest with God, not religious. One of the biggest barriers between you and God is pretending, trying to sound holy, trying to say the right words. But God doesn't want performance, He wants honesty. If you feel nothing, say it. If you feel distant, say it. If you feel confused, frustrated, even angry, say it. Look at how raw David is in Psalm 13. "How long, Lord, will you forget me forever?" That's not a perfect prayer. That's a real prayer. And God didn't reject him for it. He met him in it. You don't reconnect with God by pretending. You reconnect by being real. So instead of saying, God, thank you for this perfect day, try saying, God, I don't feel you at all right now, but I want to. That kind of honesty opens doors. 3. Remove the noise that's drowning God out. Sometimes God isn't silent. Your life is just too loud. Constant scrolling, endless videos, music, notifications, distractions. Your mind is always occupied. And God often speaks in stillness. Look at 1 Kings 19:12. God wasn't in the wind, or the earthquake, or the fire. He came in a gentle whisper. If your life is full of noise, you will miss the whisper. So try this. Sit in silence for 5 to 10 minutes. Put your phone away. Turn off everything. It will feel uncomfortable at first, but that quiet space is where clarity begins. Not always instantly, but gradually. 4. Return to obedience, even in small things. Here's something most people don't want to hear. Sometimes the reason you feel disconnected is because you've been ignoring what God already told you to do. Not big things, small things. Forgive that person. Let go of that habit. Stop compromising in that area. Start doing what you've been avoiding. Jesus said in John 14:21, "Whoever has my commands and keeps them is the one who loves me, and I will show myself to them." Did you catch that? Obedience leads to revelation. If you want to feel closer to God, don't just pray more. Obey more. Even in the small things, especially in the small things. 5. Worship even when you feel nothing. This is powerful. Worship is not about feelings. It's about focus. When you worship, even without emotion, you shift your attention from yourself to God. And that changes everything. Look at Acts 16. Paul and Silas were in prison, beaten, chained, in pain. And what did they do? They worshiped. Not because they felt like it, but because they chose to. And in that moment, something supernatural happened. Your breakthrough might not come from waiting to feel something, but from choosing to worship without feeling anything. Put on one worship song, close your eyes, and just focus on God. Even if your heart feels cold, stay there. 6. Stop chasing feelings. Start building relationship. This is the shift that changes everything. God is not an experience. He's a person. And relationships are not built on constant emotional highs. They're built on time, trust, consistency. If you only chase the feeling of God, you'll always feel empty when it fades. But if you build a relationship, you'll learn to recognize Him even in silence. Look at Hebrews 11:1. Faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see or feel. God is still there, even when you don't sense Him. And the more you walk with Him consistently, the more you'll understand that. 7. Give it time. God is working beneath the surface. This might be the hardest part. You want to feel something now. You want instant connection, instant clarity, instant peace. But God often works slowly, quietly, deeply. Just because you don't feel change immediately doesn't mean nothing is happening. Think of a seed. When it's planted, you don't see growth right away. But under the surface, everything is changing. Galatians 6:9 says, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Don't give up. Not now. Not in this season, because this might be the exact moment God is preparing something deeper in you. Final CTA. End of video. If you've made it this far, this is not random. This message found you for a reason. So here's what I want you to do right now. Don't just think about this. Act on it. Tonight or tomorrow morning. Take 5 minutes. Sit down. and talk to God. Honestly. No pressure, no perfect words, just real. And if this message helped you, even a little, make sure you stay connected, because you're not alone in this. And most importantly, remember this. Just because you don't feel God doesn't mean He's gone. He never left. He's been there the whole time, waiting for you to come back.